Good morning, and thank you for joining me today. March is designated as Women's History Month, which is dedicated to commemorating and encouraging the study, observance, and the celebration of the vital role of women in American history. Women continue to excel and make great strides around the world. So today and this month, I salute my 5 history-making female colleagues on the Savannah City Council, the women of Team Savannah, and women everywhere. I believe still that Savannah's best history is still yet to come. Last weekend, we had beautiful weather, welcome weather, compared to what we have recently experienced. Our streets were busy and full of people who were taking advantage of the gorgeous Savannah days. There was only one problem. We are still in the middle of a pandemic, and too many people, far too many people, were not wearing masks. As I've said on numerous occasions, our ability to survive COVID-19 is directly related to our ability to do the necessary things in the short term. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and wash your distance. Simply put, we do not have the necessary resources to be everywhere all of the time, so we need everyone to do and continue to do their part. Please wear a mask. Please wash your hands. Please watch your distance. Or, please wear a mask in your house. Please wear a mask with a mouse. Please wear a mask if the weather is good or bad. Please wear your mask if you go to SCAD. Please wear your mask across your mouth. Please wear your mask even if you live in the South. Please wear your mask here or there. Please, please, wear your mask everywhere. Happy 117th birthday to Dr. Seuss. I am pleased to introduce the reboot of our Savannah Safe initiative, designed to enlist and align our business community to help us to keep our community safe. If you recall, our first version of our Savannah Safe pledge was wildly successful, with over 700 businesses pledging to help us to keep Savannah safe. This partnership kept our COVID-19 numbers low over the summer, and we needed to remain focused on keeping employees and guests safe. So I sincerely thank the Savannah Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Savannah Black Chamber of Commerce, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Savannah Economic Development Authority, the Tourism Leadership Council, City Market, and the Downtown Business Association for again stepping up to the plate as we mark 1 year of COVID being a part of our lives. Next week, Georgia teachers will be eligible to receive COVID-19 shots as a part of the newly expanded vaccine criteria. And I think we can all agree that our teachers, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, paraprofessionals, custodians, and cafeteria workers are all absolutely frontline essential workers. And I'm grateful that they will finally be able to better protect themselves against this virus. Pre-K through 12th grade educators and staff, adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their caregivers, and parents of children with complex medical conditions will be able to get a COVID-19 vaccine starting on next Monday, March the 8th. They join those already in phase 1A+, including those 65 years of age and older, caregivers of those 65 and older, emergency first responders, healthcare workers, and residents and staff of long-term care facilities. If you are in one of these categories, go to gachd.org, gachd.org/vaccine to check availability and book an appointment. If you do not have internet access or you need help scheduling, you can call 912-230-5506, 912-230-5506, and please know in advance that wait times may be long. You can book an appointment up to 8 days in advance. If you do not see any available appointments, please check back the next day. If you would like to schedule an appointment with another provider, you can visit dph.georgia.gov, dph.georgia.gov, and click on the COVID-19 vaccine. And you will see options to register for a shot at a number of major pharmacies like Kroger, CVS, and Walmart. As I shared previously, it is a non-negotiable priority for us to see Savannahans building Savannah's new arena and obtaining job skills to lead our community members to future high-wage opportunities. We now have a dedicated office at the arena site where the city's Economic Development Department and WorkSource Coastal have centralized services to help residents fill out applications and help contracted MWBE and DBE firms with any inquiries regarding their participation. This office is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you are interested in a job and you cannot get to the arena site to apply, you can call WorkSource Coastal directly at 912-659-3555. 912-659-3555. Resumes are accepted but not required, but skilled and unskilled workers are welcome. This is our shot, and we want people to take advantage of it. We will host another arena job fair on March the 13th at the Savannah Civic Center, and we will share more details about that as it gets closer. If you're looking for a job or you know someone who is, please share this opportunity with them. Last week, the Savannah City Council passed a resolution to request the General Assembly of the state of Georgia to allow the city to raise our hotel-motel tax from 6% to 8%. Savannah was the only hub city in the state that did not allow for a higher collection of this tax, which is added to a hotel room when a visitor books a room in a hotel or motel in this city. We have a lot of hotel rooms, a lot of motel rooms, and so that means a lot of money is generated. By law, the funds generated by this additional tax must be used strictly for tourism purposes. I thank our hoteliers and our tourism community for helping us to make this possible. It has taken many years to get to this point, and several coordinated, well-intentioned attempts to get here to bring this to fruition. I am glad that Team Savannah, working with our partners, we were able finally to get this done and get at least our part of this complicated equation done. The hotel-motel tax resolution will now move to the Chatham County delegation and ultimately to the governor's desk for approval. For years, we have sought to find additional sources of revenue and ways for our general community to continue to benefit from what will soon again be a very busy and bustling tourist industry. Through this resolution, the city will be able to make substantial capital improvements downtown and throughout our city without Savannahans footing the bill. And those are the key words, without Savannahans footing the bill. Ultimately, If passed, this agreement will call for 34% of these funds to go toward promotion, conventions, and trade shows by a private sector nonprofit. About 15% will go to funding multi-million-dollar projects like redevelopment of the city's riverfront and creating trails, sidewalks, and other connections between the historic district, west side neighborhoods, the new arena, and more, to include water access on the south side. 14% will go to supporting the Savannah Convention Center for conventions and trade shows of similar purposes. The new rate for the Motel Tax, if approved by the state, will not go into effect until January 2022. So we want to give an effort for our economy to recover. So that's what we're proposing, not to collect it until January of 2022. We hope that our local delegation will respect and support the City Council, our hoteliers, and tourism community. I had an opportunity to visit the Georgia Capitol last week, and we gotten very good indications that our delegation is supportive of this. Council also voted to approve a game-changing agreement with the Savannah Area Chamber of Commerce and Visit Savannah to use funds from that tax to implement a diversity, equity, and inclusion plan to attract minority visitors, highlight minority-owned businesses, and historic sites. We recognize that we already enjoy diverse tourism from all over the world, but this is the perfect time, a perfect opportunity to kick our efforts into the next gear, and that is what we are doing. I am pleased to also announce that we've learned of an exciting mentoring partnership between the Savannah Area Chamber of Commerce, Visit Savannah, and the Greater Savannah Black Chamber of Commerce to help increase the capacity of the Greater Savannah Black Chamber and to increase the development of black-owned tourism businesses and products. Again, in a community that is majority minority, that is not reflected in our businesses, and so this mentoring relationship will help to build the capacity of black businesses. We plan to do the same ultimately for Hispanic businesses. As we continue to work towards equity, diversity, and inclusion, I appreciate the Chamber and Visit Savannah for recognizing the significance of this moment in time that we find ourselves in, and for being willing to take part and be a part of this opportunity for our business minority communities to share in the prosperity and the success of our city. It's time. It's time, and again, I'm excited for what these arrangements will yield. It's been nearly a year since this City Council passed Savannah's 100% clean energy resolution, which says simply that all electricity consumed in the city of Savannah will be generated from renewable energy by 2035 and all other energy needs from renewable energy by 2050. Now we need your input to help shape the city's plan. Visit savannahga.gov/clean energy to take part in a quick survey about what you want the city to prioritize when making this plan and what's most important to you when considering renewable energy options for your home or business. If you would like to get more involved, there are options to sign up online to help with focus areas and working groups, or to become an ambassador for the program. A draft of this plan is scheduled to be presented to the council this summer, with final approval scheduled for the fall. That being said, we are watching several bills in the Georgia General Assembly as they apparently seek to preempt local governments from acting in the best interests of the citizens that we serve. HB 150, which was passed by the Georgia House on February the 22nd, would prohibit a municipal government from adopting any policies that will prohibit or limit consumers' use of any utility service based solely on the type or source of energy or fuel. Well, in Georgia, 5 cities, Savannah, Atlanta, Athens, Augusta, and Clarkston, have already committed to achieving 100% clean energy over the next 30 years. And this legislation, if passed, will obliterate that significant goal. This need and the format of this bill did not originate in Georgia. It came from somewhere else and essentially mandates continued reliance on fossil fuels rather than supporting a shift to electric power, which represents a dangerous and unnecessary assault on local control. There's also a variety of election bills out there that seem to try to supplant citizens' rights to vote, to make it harder to provide access for people to vote. And so certainly, personally, we should be trying to create more opportunities to make it easier for people to vote. I don't think we should change the rules because we don't like the result. And so we're watching these bills. We do not have a lobbyist up there this year. We will have one next year, I predict, to help us to keep track of what's going on at the Georgia General Assembly. HB 286 is another one. It aims to prevent cities and counties with a police department from reducing police budgets by more than 5% of the previous fiscal year's appropriations and by more than 5% over a rolling 10-year period. And it contains exemptions for cities and counties that experience unexpected revenue drops and for where departments make large one-time purchases. Again, this is bad public policy. These funds are generated locally, and I think that local decisions are best made locally and should be decided locally. We know what's best for Savannah, and we know what's best for the Savannah Police Department, not someone in Atlanta who does not know or understand the issues that we face here in Savannah. However, in other more positive police news, last Friday, the Savannah Police Department promoted 16 officers. 2 were promoted to captain, 3 to lieutenant, and 11 to sergeant. These new supervisors are coming at a time when we are insisting on effective, professional, empathetic leadership in law enforcement, and at a time when it is absolutely paramount. This diverse group of promotees consisted of 2 women who were promoted to the rank of captain and lieutenant, respectively, and overall reflected the demographic makeup of Savannah's community. We have high hopes for these officers who completed the rigorous promotion process and who were selected to take on these high positions in our organization. I'm excited for what these promotions exemplify, a step in the right direction and a good, bold step towards our future. We also recently swore in 19 new police officers who you will soon see patrolling and serving our streets. As a former law enforcement officer, I can tell you that the process to become a police officer is extensive and thorough, and it should be. There are a bunch of steps, a bunch of investigations, a bunch of backgrounds, a bunch of tests, because we need to make sure that who we hand a gun and a badge to are able to give us the results that we want. We expect our officers to be well trained and well prepared to serve all of our citizens and guests. So we're always looking for people to step up and join Savannah's finest So if you're looking for a rewarding career, doing the toughest job you will ever love, Chief Mentor is here. Go by and see him. I'm sure he has an application in his back pocket, or you can call 912-651-4226. 912-651-4226. So that ends my prepared remarks, and I'll entertain any questions you may have.
So you touched on a lot.
Hey, had a lot on my mind today.
Gotcha. One thing I do want to ask about, is there any kind of update on the city manager search in that process?
Yes. On last Thursday, the City Council approved a process for the city manager search. We have a new vendor, Development Associates out of Durham, North Carolina. They have already contacted council members to do introductory interviews. And I think that, part of it is that you contact council members to see what qualities they're looking for. And you do surveys, you do interviews, you come up with a job announcement, and then people apply. So we are well on that way. Now it's just time to do that work. So, I would say hopefully by summer. I don't want to drag our feet on it, but I don't want us to rush it either. Again, this is the most important decision that a city council make, and much has been said by people about, we didn't do it before, we weren't able to be successful before. I mean, it is what it is. You have 9 bosses, 9, and anybody coming to a job would want more than 5 of those to be supportive. And I know for the last search, all 3 candidates, I personally asked, would you come on a 5-4 vote? And all 3 said no, and I don't blame them. So I'm hoping this time, we'll be able to find someone that the majority of council, the vast majority of council is supportive of, or find someone who's willing to come on a 5-4 vote. Thank you.
And then one more question is push to invest in Black-owned businesses, minority businesses. How do you feel like Savannah has done so far? What do you think some of the biggest challenges are going to be while you kind of take on this week?
Well, I think the biggest challenge has been there's a variety of things. The Black people make up the majority of Savannah's population. We don't make up the majority of the economic engine. And so we need to be able to try to create opportunities, again, 4 words for equity, to create opportunities for businesses to build their capacity, for them to find new niches and new ways to become more engaged. And again, this agreement with the Greater Savannah Black Chamber, the Chamber is good because there is definitely a market for Black tourism. Savannah is rich in history. I don't think we've really tapped what that is yet. And so I think that the folks at the Chamber and Visit Savannah, and we've talked about this extensively, agree that when you invite more people to the table, the quality of the food doesn't diminish. And so, none of the businesses of the Chamber or Visit Savannah are affected necessarily because we're bringing more diverse voices to the table. So, again, I think in this time of diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's one thing to say it, it's something different to do it, and it's being done in ways that are I would say it's been happening before, but not at this accelerated, augmented pace. And so I'm grateful for it. Now, what they do with the opportunity is certainly up to them. But our goal is to help to facilitate the opportunity. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Just one question for you. You mentioned it sort of at the beginning of your remarks, but this is the 1-year anniversary of COVID hitting our city. I just want to push you, I guess, for further comment on that. I feel like we've hit a lot of milestones, some positive, some negative.
And it's pretty new into you getting your position. So if you just want to, I guess, respond to that and any of your thoughts.
I'm still here. By the grace of God and the work of a lot of hard people, we faced a daunting monster. A year ago, we didn't know what we were looking at. And yet, due to the perseverance and resilience of the Savannah spirit, to Team Savannah, certainly our council, Savannah is still here. We've had people to suffer. We've had businesses to close. But many of them, most of them, are still here. And in spite of all that's going on, our numbers were relatively low as opposed to the rest of the state. And when you look across our community, people are coming here, people are staying here, and many cities across the country cannot say that. So I think that tough times don't last what tough people do. Tough times don't last what tough cities do. And Savannah has shown her ability to withstand, to bend but not break. And I didn't know, to be honest with you, about halfway through this, what I would be. We're still here. We're still here. We're still pressing on, and we're just so close to where we see the end in sight. And that is why it's so important to me that we don't lose sight of the finish line. It's one thing to, say to people, the weather is nice, let's just be fun again. No, we're so close. I suspect that as our numbers continue to rise in vaccinations, that we'll soon see the day, hopefully sooner rather than later, that we're able to put these masks away. But right now, I just don't want us to lose sight of that which is really important. And I don't want our businesses, in an effort to recoup profits, forsake safety, which is why the Savannah Safe initiative is so important. We don't want to have to do more drastic things to protect our community. So we are working anxiously with our business partners for them to help us. And we're insisting that Team Savannah does what it's supposed to do to ensure that we are enforcing the mandates that are issued. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Which leads me into my first question.
You said what?
This leads me into my first question. Your statements there at the end of that answer. Looking at doubling down the Savannah Safe Pledge and working with businesses, 2 weeks from the St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, are we anticipating any sort of restrictions on businesses similar to what we've seen in other major cities that have had big events?
No restrictions are anticipated as of yet. We monitor the situation daily. And again, I'm in constant contact, daily contact with mayors across the state, weekly contact with mayors across the country. Atlanta has the NBA All-Star game this week. And so, cities are making these tough decisions. Again, we've remained in contact with our business community, our business partners. So nothing planned as of yet. Again, it all just depends. It depends on where people are and how people are behaving and our ability to control that.
What would be the cutoff point? I know some of the issues in cities that have put restrictions in place were that they were too close to the deadline, too close to the big day. That caused a lot of businesses to lose out on profits and order things that they didn't end up using. So what would the cutoff date be here in Savannah?
Again, we monitor it daily. We monitor it daily. I think it's up to businesses. It's up to people to decide. I mean, we're not having a festival. And St. Patrick's Day is on a Wednesday. So it's really up to our businesses. I would love for them to manage themselves so that we don't have to. And so the whole impetus behind the Savannah Safe movement is to have businesses to do that, so that we don't have to be involved at all. I would prefer that.
Last thing for me, Mr. Mayor.
You don't have an unrelated question?
Looking at the demonstration that was outside last night, there were folks that were expressing their frustrations with what looks to be the trajectory of the property where the Salvation Army is looking to put a shelter in West Savannah. Is there any talk or discussion about maybe a middle ground on this, or what? I know council's going to be considering it next Thursday again, the future of that property. But are you hearing these people, or are you working with them to again find some sort of compromise?
Well, I think that if you remember, the reason why it was delayed to March the 11th was that the petitioner pulled it so that we can have some opportunities for further discussion. For review, this property is on land that's not owned by the City of Savannah. It is owned by the Housing Authority of Savannah via the United States Housing and Urban Development that has to approve how the land is used. This land is not the Weeping Time property. And I think that's important to say, because I've heard that been said erroneously multiple times by people who know better. The Weeping Time of the Brock racetrack is actually behind this property, which is currently owned by Bradley Plywood. So I think that's important to be able to say. They are seeking a special use permit to be able to build a multi-use center that includes shelter, but also includes a variety of services that the Salvation Army provides. To date, we have heard from the West Savannah Community Organization and the Woodville Community Association, which both support the project. And so that's kind of where we are. The rest will depend on the Salvation Army to come up with a plan B in case it doesn't work, because I believe that their services are necessary, the expansion is necessary. On one end, we say we have to help people, on the other end, we don't want to help people, which is interesting to me. But then on the other end of it, we have to make sure that we are communicating appropriately. Ultimately, it comes down to the non-members of council to decide. And so, yeah, we heard about the gathering yesterday. It's just interesting to me. It was interesting to me because I finally remember in 2016, I was an alderman and we were trying to put a grocery store in West Savannah. And we had a grocer prepared to come. And some of the same folk, protested against this grocer locating in West Savannah. As a result, we do not have a grocery store in West Savannah. Finally remember, a couple years later, an opportunity for a second health center to be located there. Some of the same folks, protested against that, saying we don't need a second health center in this area. And right now, those plans are on hold. At some point, you have to be willing and able to get the help that you need. And so, ultimately, I'm committed to helping people where they are. Now, absent from the discussion of the Salvation Army one way or another, I hadn't necessarily made up my mind. But You know, we can't complain and say people need help, and then when we come up with ways to help them, we don't like that way, help them somewhere else. I remind everybody, I've heard these terms, these people, and it breaks my heart because if it was not for the grace of God, I would be these people. If it had not been for opportunities, I would be these people. I could be hungry. I could be homeless. I could have very few options. The measure of Savannah is a community. And as we move toward being the beloved community I hope we could all be, is going to be Savannah's ability to be able to help people where they are. And so, you know, we can't complain about things not being better if we don't help to make things better. And that's just a general statement. I'm sorry you didn't ask me all that, but since you went there, I went there too.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Y'all all right? All right. Good to see you all. Appreciate you all, what you do. God bless, and may God continue to bless the city of Savannah. Read a Dr. Seuss book today.